All right, everyone. Thank you for Fan Friday, for coming on to Fan Friday today. We have the lovely Toni Craft from Reiki Rocks Crystal Shop, and we are very excited that you're here, Toni. So, Toni, it's always like, what do we ask? What do we ask? Before we talk about your shop, why don't you tell us a little bit about your intuitive path and kind of how did you know that you had the intuitive abilities and what made you follow this path and kind of what have been some ahas in your life?
Okay.
Just a little question.
Okay. Probably 14 years ago, I signed up for an intuitive class, and Kelly Ballard was teaching a class, and it wasn't because I felt that I was very intuitive or got messages or saw spirits or anything. I was just intrigued by the whole idea, and I felt like it's using part of your brain, and I wasn't using that. But that some people could do it naturally. Just like some people can sit down and play piano or do numbers in their head. Some people were born with this ability to speak to spirit or just really trust their gut. So I just took the classes really to see what it was all about and see if I could learn how to turn that on a bit. So that class was wonderful for me. It was a great group of women, and a lot of us are still together today, still hanging out and in this field somehow doing something. So that's how I got started. And it set me on this path where I picked things up along the way, like Reiki and crystals, and never, when I took that class, I wasn't thinking someday I'm going to have a crystal shop. That wasn't even on the horizon. So it was pretty cool.
Would you say
how
that? Go ahead. Do you
it's sort of crazy, like how it, I just did it as a fluke, it's like, oh, this sounds fun, I'm going to do this.
That's awesome.
Set me on my path. So
do you feel like you were always intuitive though? Like before you took this course, that course 14 years ago?
I got into it. Yeah, I realized that, yes, I do trust my gut. We all are, but to what extent?
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely always would trust that feeling that like, I don't like this, or I do like this. And sometimes I would just know things. So, but that definitely opened that up to even more. Mm-hmm. And it's don't you feel like it's about practice too? Like once you start to open up, then it's practicing and doing things and doing exercises. You just don't say one day, okay, I'm gonna do this and not work at it. You have to work at it. But then I think as you work, more and more opens up. And Reiki opened up a lot for me also.
And you're a Reiki instructor, and what levels of Reiki do you currently teach on now?
So I teach Usui Reiki, and I do all levels from beginning class all the way up through Reiki Master. And Reiki was something that I saw. And so I saw a nurse do it in the hospital and worked on my mother years ago, before I took my intuitive classes. And I tell people my mother could be like the world's worst negative Nelly. And I saw the Reiki change her personality, like make her optimistic and happy. And I was like, what is this? So sort of tucked it away, and then later learned it myself. And I think doing that, it was like, really started things rolling.
Yeah. And how long have you been teaching Reiki for?
At least 10 years.
Wow, it's a long time.
Yeah.
How many
10
students would you say that you've probably certified at this point? You knew I was going to ask you that.
I don't know. I'd say 60 or so.
Nice.
Maybe more, probably more.
Probably more.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Reiki?
That Reiki can be used in everyday life. So I think a lot of people think that Reiki is something that you're going to do in a session on another person or animal.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, just learn it for you. You know, like some people are like, I don't want to start a business, and that's fine if you do.
Mm-hmm.
But first, use it in your life. I feel like it makes my day go smoother. You know, if there's traffic, I'm doing Reiki to have everybody get along and have everybody be safe. And if I'll do Reiki in the shop to on my crystals, clear the energy out.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm signing something or taking a class, I Reiki me, I Reiki, I Reiki my iPad before we started so that,
Nice.
this goes smoothly. So everyday life, I think, is wonderful. I think it makes you more compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know somebody's issue, but I'll send a little Reiki to somebody next to me in the grocery line, maybe because they're using a cane and they're having a little tough time walking. I can send them energy to
Nice.
help their day. And that's why I feel the more people know Reiki, it's a trickle down effect, I'm using Reiki, so I'm happier. People I deal with, I am a happier, calmer person, and it just goes, I don't know.
Well, I will say that I know from knowing you now, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I feel like it's been a long time. She'll send me Reiki when she knows that I'm stressing out and I need to calm down. She'll be like, Rachel, and then whatever she does with her hands, and then I feel a lot calmer. So I will say and you've sent Reiki to difficult situations that I've encountered in my life. So I do appreciate you for that 100%. So I do love that. Now something that you do that I think a lot of people are not aware of are rose readings. So can you tell us a little bit about your rose readings, which I've experienced one and they're amazing.
Yeah, so rose readings are something that I learned probably 3 years ago. A woman out in California came up with this. It was something totally new. And then my teacher had learned from her. So Denise Rivera actually taught me how to do the rose readings. Mm-hmm. So it's working with energy. And so if you came to me for a rose reading, and there's 2 kinds. There's one just for you, and then you can do a relationship rose reading also. So where we have and it doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be a cousin, somebody you had a fight with, or it can be somebody romantic. Doesn't matter. But what I do is meditate for a few minutes. And I actually had a specific spirit guide come in to help me with rose readings. I never met her until I started doing rose readings. And so she helps me with those. And so what I envision is a rose, and everything about it comes into play. The color of the rose, whether it looks fresh, whether it's ready to bloom, whether it has bloomed, the leaves, how many thorns are on the stem of the rose. And then as I'm tuning in, tells me about your path. Are you on the right path? Are you doing what you want to do in this life? And then I will go into a past life.
Mhm.
And that past life usually has something to do with the life that you are leading now. So there's a connection.
Yeah.
And if it's a relationship question, I can tune into a past life that you and this other person have shared.
So cool.
So that's really cool. And then, so I have a rose for you, have a rose for the other person. And then towards the end of the reading, I try to bring them together, the two roses. And it depends how they do that. I interpret that.
Yeah.
So the colors of that, whether they blend, whether they stay apart, you know, I've not tried to do it and had the roses go. So that would not be a good relationship. But sometimes they blend very well. Sometimes one dominates another. It's interesting to see. But my spirit guide Debbie helps me with all that.
Is that something that you're currently offering now at your shop?
I haven't been, but everybody keeps saying, when are you going to start doing rose readings again?
It's a great thing for Valentine's Day coming up.
Oh, there you go.
Hello.
We'll take a poll after this.
We'll take a poll. Listen,
I did it once at an event, and yeah,
I just had somebody in the chat say do them. And
So,
Jess just said to do. There's 3 people now that have said to do them.
Oh, all right. I think it's time to get back into the rose readings then.
I've experienced rose reading, and it's when you're in a relationship, it's helpful to kind of see like how you're, and Lindsay, you said it too, how you're blending together with your partner. It's just, it's a fascinating relationship reading to kind of go into your present and in your past. And it's different. It's not a normal type of reading. It's fascinating. And the thing about Toni that I respect so much is that you're very visual. Like you get a lot of visual cues and visual information that I think is fascinating. And to hear your visual perception on something is really cool. So, you know, and you also work with a lot of spirit guides. You don't just have, what was her name again? I'm sorry. What was her name? Your spirit guide, that Debbie that works with you on that? Well, you also have other spirit guides. You have Chief, right?
Yes.
And then you have other guides that kind of come to you a lot. So
yes.
it's really cool. How did you start working with your spirit guides?
That started when I started to take intuitive class. Now I always was intrigued by spirit guides, and I always used to talk to my main spirit guide before classes. He's been around a long time. I always like to go for readings and everything. So way years and years ago, somebody had mentioned my spirit guide or my main guy. And I felt like I already knew who he was. So it was sort of a nice validation and I was on the right path. But, and I tell my Reiki students and people that I teach, you don't need to know who they all are. You know, there's some days when I'm in a car a lot and I talk to everyone and I'll say, hey, you know, I'm sorry if I don't know you specifically or don't know your name, but thanks for being here.
Oh, I love that.
You know, and
let's
do this. It's going to be a great day. And if you have something that day that you need help with, ask them for that and say, you know, hey, whoever's here, come on. I mean, I know a few, and in your meditation the other day was awesome.
Thank you.
Last night, was that last night?
Wednesday.
Your spirit,
like Wednesday. You might have listened to it last night though. It's all good.
Yeah, so that was a great meditation. And yeah, it was funny because when I met Debbie, starting the rose readings, she looked like a fairy to me. And I can remember thinking to myself, oh, look, she looks like a fairy, but a tall fairy.
Yeah.
She was, she she wasn't happy with that. She said, I'm a sprite. I'm a sprite, sprite, sprite. She kept repeating it.
They are
And I'm like,
different.
okay.
They are
I
different.
don't want to be the new spirit guy and piss him off right away, but
I love that.
yeah. So if I ever say, think fairy, she's like sprite.
Right. I love it. And now let's talk about crystals. And
All right.
have you always had a love for crystals, or did taking this intuitive class open to working with the crystals and kind of led you on this path?
I always liked crystals, but I also would pick up shells all the time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And rocks. I like flat, like Lindsay.
Yeah.
I like flat rocks. So I would always pick them up from the beach too. And but crystals, I didn't know them that well, but I can remember going into different shops and they would always catch my eye. And I had, I don't know, 5, 10 of them. But then as I took that class, I explored a little more, and then I met a friend of mine. She was a shaman, Carol Tunney, and she was a big crystal lover. And I took some classes from her, and she took me under her wing and taught me a lot about crystals. So love them. And you know what my favorite is?
Does everybody know what Toni's favorite crystal is? Because if you don't,
said, can you talk about something other than your favorite? But look, I picked one up for you.
Oh, look at that fluorite. Oh,
fluorite.
okay, let's ask you, why is fluorite your favorite crystal?
I love the colors. I'm a purple girl, so this purple and green.
So pretty.
I love the combo. Fluorite, and it comes and it grows in different forms. So that's a rather thick slab, but then you see it where you get all the waves of the color.
Yeah.
And also grows in cubes, which.
Yeah, the one you showed last night was beautiful.
Yeah, the cubes are amazing. So it just comes in so many. This is a silky fluorite.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Just so different looking. And it does everything, and it helps you with your intuition. It helps you open up. So, but I brought a couple more over to show you. But the great thing about crystals, I think, is that they all have a vibration, they all have a frequency. And so I'll have people come into the shop and they'll say, yeah, they're pretty and all, but do they work? Is it real? And it is real because, as you know, we're all energy. So
yeah,
they have energy. And here's an amethyst. So this is probably the most common. People love amethyst.
Yeah. And amethyst is a master healer. It's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. And what's nice about is that our bodies are energetically always changing. Our different organs in our body are different frequencies, but this crystal, no matter what, stays stable.
Right.
So if I like to place on fire right here next to me, I'm gonna be like, ah! But this is the same frequency as it was 10 minutes ago.
Right.
And it calms our body down, and our body tends to go towards that steady frequency. So by holding this and having it on you, near you, you're calming your body down and having it be a steady frequency.
And it will bring you up to a higher frequency. So
yes.
If you're ruminating in like a lower vibe, such as depression, anger, rage, or depression, anything like that, it will actually bring you up to a higher frequency. So that's why crystals are such a powerful tool to work with.
Right. And I think you know, that's what we're here for, is to keep elevating
Yeah.
and raising our vibration. So by layering crystals, I use oils, essential oils,
Yeah.
so they all have a frequency. So I can put on those high vibration things, crystals and oils, and raise my vibration,
Right.
which is what we
What's your
want to.
favorite oil? Do you have a favorite oil or oil blend?
I love white angelica.
Good one.
So you use that one, don't you?
Yeah.
White angelica. So
Yeah.
I feel like white angelica is it's just clearing for me. It's like sage. So
Yeah.
I put that on and everything's like, ah. Like I'll put it on a lot when I'm in a crowd, because I
one.
feel like you know, these empaths that take everything on, it will just clear energy off of me. So I'm not taking on anybody else's energy.
Perfect. What's
And
another selenite, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I always tell people that come in the shop, you know, you don't have to spend a fortune. You don't need to have the biggest, humongous crystals. I think this is one of the hardest working crystals that we have. And, you know, $2 for this wand.
Yeah.
So I will take it. And I use this a lot in Reiki because I feel like it's a magnet, and whatever's not supposed to be there just goes into the crystal and gets cleaned. So I will take it over my aura and just clean myself off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
I'll take it
you know,
and
if
I'll
you have
put a
a
circle
stressful
of
job,
it. Yeah.
just do this in the car so you don't bring it home with you.
Yeah.
Do it in the car, clean yourself off, out the window with the energy. Keep this.
No, it's a good like crystal to have in like your crystal kit for sure.
Yeah, that's a definite one to have in your room. Rose quartz is also lovely. I give these out in the shop. I have a basket, and so it's a heart chakra. It's love, it's peace, it's calm, and the world needs that. And then here, solid looking.
That's a really pretty one.
That's been cut into a, you know, little bowl. So. But
and you're also a certified crystal practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah, they changed the name.
Yeah, and you bring in crystals while you're doing Reiki sessions as well?
I do. I always ask the people, do you mind if I use crystals? And no one said no to me yet. Because I feel like that just brings in even extra. So when I'm doing a Reiki session, which what we're trying to do in Reiki is to balance somebody's energy, because you get blocks when you are stressed, or when you're in pain, or whether you've had trauma, you get energy blocks. So what I'm doing in a Reiki session is trying to even out your energy, and your body can heal itself much easier when it's balanced. So I'll have somebody on the table and then intuitively put crystals on them to help in the session. So,
and Toni is also advanced certified in integrative energy therapy. So when she's doing Reiki now, she's also pulling in the 9 healing angels, and she's pulling it out of the cellular memory and going out of all of the other energy bodies. So the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the spiritual bodies as well.
Yeah. And you know, I think everything we learn is another tool in the toolbox, you know?
Yeah.
So like, you know, you do this, your sessions aren't just one thing, you know, you're pulling a little of this, like you said, the IET.
Yeah.
And there's Reiki. I like to rattle. during Reiki
Oh,
sessions,
that's cool.
move energy. So I have crystals. I'll diffuse oils for a certain purpose. So they all work together, and it's wonderful to have all those things, to be able to use. And
Toni,
somebody, it depends what resonates with you.
I have a question for you. Would you be willing to share that story you have about Raphael and throwing the energy?
Like the football.
Yeah. It's a really cool story.
So I was working on a woman, and in a Reiki session, and she had a tumor in her abdomen. And so she was going to have it operated on in a couple of days. And so I had learned IET on that long before. So I knew how to bring in the angels. And so Raphael had come in to help. And so I'm doing my Reiki, and then I'm working over her abdomen. And it just felt like Raphael just stepped in, and we can do psychic surgery with Reiki, so you can open something up and take it out. So I was working on that, and then it felt like he just took it, like he took that energy, and so now he's got it in his hands, and I'm standing next to the table. And my spirit guide was right here. Debbie was there. And all of a sudden, Raphael moves up, and he threw the energy like a football. Like he went, boom, and he sent it flying. And so it was just so, if somebody had ever videotaped it, I'm sure my face would have been something else. Because here we are, we're watching Raphael, and we're like it just went flying. And it wasn't just in that room. It felt like all of a sudden we were watching him toss that out to the universe, and it was just going. And so I felt like our heads just went whoop. And then I looked at Debbie, my spirit guide. She looked at me and was like, whoo. I was like, wow, look at that.
Amazing.
And I explained to my client, I said, it just feels like he took the energy out of it, and now it's just like a carcass, so they're going to cut that out in a couple of days and toss it, and it's going to be fine. So amazing. Yeah. And she felt pulling, she felt that go. So she didn't have her eyes open when I was working on her or anything, but she had that experience too. And everything was fine. It was nothing. So and it was funny because it was a rather a large tumor. So yeah, that was wild.
That's a powerful experience. That's amazing.
Yeah. As you know, once you start bringing in your guides and your angels, it's like you never know what, don't you feel that? I never have the same thing happen twice.
No, as we've been here talking, Saint Germain is here, Archangel Michael is here, Ariel is here. I never feel like I have the same team that is with us. And I will say that even with working with clients, it's never the same. There might be some repeats, but it's never the same. And my goal is to be you're like, oh, I have Chief, I have this. I'm hoping that eventually I'll be like, oh, I have this person. They're always with me. I feel like Ariel's always with me. But I'll get there someday. Like you said in the beginning, we always have to be working on our craft and honing in on it and tapping into new things. Yesterday, Melissa, who's on the call, showed me a whole different way of how to energetically protect myself. And that was fascinating. And now I'm like, oh, it's just because people will open you up to new learning and new experiences like you've done with me, Toni,
Right,
which I
right.
love. She's always like, what are you doing now, Rachel? What class are you doing now? I'm always doing something. I really am. So tell us a
We're
little
always
bit
learning,
about,
right?
you always need to be learning. Like there's no way we're ever going to master all of our gifts. There's no way. Like there's always going to be new things to unfold and to bring in and to pull in. And there's always new. And it's
Like, I
exciting.
feel like our team just says, oh, check this out,
Mhm. It's like, oh,
they do something new.
like,
It's like,
yeah. It's exciting. It's pretty cool. And thank goodness we're in a space right now where we have easy access to tap into this knowledge.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate. So tell us a little bit about your wonderful, amazing shop.
So, so I started out really small. When I had my Reiki space, my first office, I always had crystals in it. And I always had like, the tumbled, like
Yeah,
a thing of tumbled.
so pretty.
And, I was always giving them to my Reiki clients. And then I just started to add to it and add to it. And then, like, okay, I need a different shop. I need a bigger, more space. And so what I love about the crystal shop is meeting people and then matching them, helping them, with helping them find something that's going to work for them. I feel like when somebody starts to tell me their story and says, this is what I'm going through, boom, 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 boom. And sometimes I just hear it. Sometimes I'll see the crystal and they say, so what do you think going to help me out here? And, it's there, it's in my head. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm hearing. And I love doing that. Love, love, love. I feel like whether it's crystal or whether it's an oil that I can tell them to get, I love matching it up. So my collection at home with the crystals was getting rather large. So it was funny because, we've all had this, we're like, okay, where are we going to put more crystals? So having this shop was really a great outlet for me too.
Yeah.
That gets shopping and passing them on. So I feel like when I go, and I try to, as much as possible, handpick my crystals. So there are places that I go that are close by. Luckily, where we are, luckily there are a couple of big wholesalers.
Nice.
And then people that I'm not close by, there's one guy that I buy from, and it's all by pictures. I see everything. So I love to choose them. And then I feel like they're going to come here, and then they're just going to go to the right person. And it's funny because sometimes I'll see a spear and I'll see people pick it up or put it down, pick it up, and everybody's got to look at it and they like it, but nobody's getting it. And then this just happened the other day too. So this woman comes in and she's like, oh, thank God it's still here.
Aww.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I go, so many people have looked at it this week. And she said, oh, I saw it a couple of weeks ago and I didn't want to, I didn't have money for it right then. So I kept saying, oh, please be there, which I think is so true. I think they wait for you. And so she was so ecstatic and she's like, oh, thank you for being here. She's talking to the crystal. So, but I love that, when they get that right one. And like we talk about, like I talked earlier about how they had the same vibration, like these two, they're both amethyst, one's lighter.
Yeah.
But they feel differently in your hand. So I love to hear the sound of somebody going through the buckets of crystals out there, because I don't want somebody to take the top one. I want them to dig through and get the right one.
Awesome.
And And I do that by feeling them. I'll see somebody, I'm sure you've done this, take a pendulum and try to decide between 1, 2, or 3,
Yeah.
to see which one the universe is saying is for you if you can't decide.
No, let's be honest. I say, Toni, which one wants to go home with me?
Jess was just here. We were doing that.
See, Jess knows.
Trying to decide which one was the
Yeah,
best
which one? I'm always like, Toni, which one? This one, Rachel. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
But I like doing that. Like somebody will say to me, like sometimes I have people that are farther away. So they're saying to me, can you pick me out something? And I love doing that because I'll sit with it. I'll be like, okay, this is for Rachel. What are we doing here? Yeah. And get the feel for it and pick one out. So that's what I love about the shop. And I've been very fortunate that business has grown, so I can get more things. And I try to have something for $1, $1.50, right on up. There's things for $300, $400 every now and then, and big special geodes or whatnot. But I try to have affordable things so that people can afford to take them home and have that energy in their home. So that's my biggie. I want them to find, it's like a shelter for crystals. I want them to find their homes where they belong.
Love it. And you also have classes. You have people that come in and teach classes. You also teach classes. You have readers that come in every weekend. So you're very good in offering a very wide variety of a lot of spiritual connections for a lot of people.
Thank you.
You have a different flavor.
Like Rachel comes once a month.
Comes.
But angel cards and tarot cards, and everybody's got different personality. It's like I'm not the one that's going to teach everyone Reiki. You got to find your person. Yeah. So sometimes people resonate with this reader or that reader. Some people try them all, which I love. So somebody gave me the nicest compliment once. She said to me, she came in for a reading and she said, I know that if you have them here, that they're good and that they're safe, because some people say, have you ever had a reading? And they're like, no, because everybody's always worried that somebody's going to tell them they're going to die, in the next week. And I said, a good reader, no, it never, ever, ever happens, does not happen. So I think that's one of their biggest fears. I hear that a lot. So, and then if I convince them to come see somebody and then they're like, they're wonderful. See?
Well, bad readings stick with you. I actually just got reminded of a bad reading that I had over 20 years ago. Somebody from Lilydale. And it's, every now and again, it pops up in my head. And it was like, it just left such a scar on me. And I was like, even now I thinking about it, I'm like, wow. I'm like, and F you, dude, because none of this stuff you said came true. So,
It's terrible because, one bad egg, apple, whatever, it gives everybody a bad name, and then you don't have to work that much harder to overcome that. But
true. Yeah, it's true. Does anybody have any questions for Toni? I want to open it up for any questions. You can either come off of mute or if you want to put it in the comments. And Toni, while people may or may not have questions, is there anything that you want to say? Anything else you want to say?
They don't stay. So tell me if somebody else.
I will.
Is anybody here? Is anybody watching?
Yes, you've got a lot of people here. Stop it. Stop it.
I can't tell.
Stop it. Yeah, there's 9 people here. Anybody have anything else, Toni, that you feel like sharing that you want to share?
Let's see. I don't know. I'm gonna have Reiki classes started. So if anybody is interested in learning more, just contact me.
I will say one of the best things about you, Toni, is that I feel like you are very humble in everything that you do, and you're very down to earth, and you make opening up your skills and obtaining more tools, like it's just so easy. Like before, many years ago, when I first got on this path, like it was almost like it was a very sacred art, and it was very like nobody could do it, and you had to, you know what I mean? And I will say, by being around you, and and you kind of like pushing me along, because she kind of pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and get doing readings and things like that. So I appreciate you for that. And you're just you're a very good like catalyst for people, and I appreciate you so much. Like you're just amazing, and you link people up together, and you're like, hey, you would like so and so, and this would go well
Right.
here, and this, like, I feel like you're the mayor of Spiritual Town. You're like the connector. So when Toni goes on her crystal cruise and she's selling her crystals, we all need to go together. Oh, we have a question. So hold on a second. We're all going to go together, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So Melissa says, Melissa says, do you have any books you recommend to learn more about crystals?
I love the Crystal Encyclopedia. I sell that, and I sell the Crystal Bible by Judy Hall. Judy Hall's done a million books, and she did both of those. Don't you think she's
Yeah.
very well versed in crystals? She just passed away this past year. But the Crystal Encyclopedia I like because it's color coded. So if you're trying to find this, you can go to the orange section where
Yeah,
the Crystal
you're right.
Bible is
Crystal
alphabetical.
Bible is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so Crystal Bible, there's actually 3 volumes of it. So you're flipping through hundreds of pages trying to find it's hard. The encyclopedia I love because it's color coded, so you have something to start with. And it's overwhelming. I tell people, if you don't try to memorize all of
There's no way.
the definitions for what
Yeah.
carnelian does, because if you look at 5 different places online, you'll find
5 different
slightly,
definitions.
yeah. And so hopefully most of them say creative, because I think that's what a carnelian is wonderful for. It's volcanic, so it's all about change and being creative. And so, but don't overwhelm yourself, just buy some crystals that you like, and then work on learning what they do.
Mhm.
And meditate with them. That's how you learn what they do. So it might be wonderful for one person in this way, but you find that you love it for this other reason. My big thing is it's all about intention. So I'll tell people, if you're making a grid and you find that, oh, this recipe calls for blah, 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 and I don't have that, like, don't feel like you have to go out and buy that. Use what you have, because it's all about intention.
Right.
So put that intention into your grid and work that way. And remember, this size works just fine.
Right.
You don't have to have humongous. This packs a punch too.
It does. You're right. It does. I have a little tiny one, and it's one of my most powerful crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Definitely.
you just don't know. I have another question.
Yes.
If you could choose one class to start with to develop intuition, which one would you take, in any one local that you would take it from?
An intuition class?
Yeah.
Or any? Well, Mary Payton's been teaching intuitive classes here.
Yeah.
Reiki Rocks shop. And so Mary is one of those people that she wasn't in the very original class, but then rejoined, and that's how I met Mary, was through those intuitive classes. So her classes are very good. Lisa Williams does great classes online. So
I think Melissa Neely is also going to be teaching intuitive classes as well.
Is who? I'm sorry.
Melissa Neely. Melissa, the girl that reads your soul portrait. You know her.
Oh, I couldn't hear you for some reason.
Put up your hair. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yes. And she'll be next week on Fan Friday. So.
Oh, awesome.
And Rachel Garrett is going to be releasing an online intuition course called Supercharge Your
Is that the new
Intuition.
thing coming?
What? It's coming soon. I already have it ready. Just got to get it up.
That's awesome.
There's going to be an activation, an attunement, everything. What?
There you go. There you go, Lindsay.
Lindsay, take it from me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Take it from anyone you feel called to.
But it's funny because when I teach Reiki, our Reiki 3 class is about crystals.
Oh, nice.
So that's where we learn how to incorporate the crystals into the sessions. So it's funny, one of my long distance customers said to me that they took Reiki, but their person didn't really teach them a lot about crystals. So
Really?
Sometimes I think it depends on who you learn from, but crystals, obviously, I might have somebody go through Reiki 3 and learn about the crystals and be like, it's not my thing, and that's fine. But for me, they're so important in Reiki also.
I love crystals. I love them. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I love you.
I know. I'll call Rachel up. Rachel, you have to have this. Like, she's somebody else say that too.
And I'll be like, okay.
Calling your name.
Anything you say, no problem. Anything you say. My sons the other day, they're like, how much money do you think you've invested in crystals? I'm like, well, that's your inheritance. So you tell me.
I know. That's one, that's a pet peeve of mine though. Like, when you hear about people being told that they had to get, this honking crystal.
Yeah, no.
For $500 or whatever. And it's like, oh, no.
Like, I just got this one. It's this Libyan, was it Desert Stone? And it's small. But I'll tell you, this packs a wallop. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it packs something with me. Like, and it's super intense. And it's small, like it's a baby. But then I have this one that I got from Toni. And it's so funny because it's a golden healer quartz and I love it. And I use it in all my sessions now. But the funny thing is that when I saw the picture from her, I thought it was like this big. And then when she showed it to me, I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was like, oh, well, okay. I love it. I do. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything else, Toni, that you want to share before we log off for this evening? Anybody?
But it's funny because like you said I feel like I am a facilitator.
You are.
Even with Reiki, we talk about ego in Reiki. I'm not healing anyone. I'm a facilitator and bringing the universe through me and out into the person. That's how I'm working. I'm facilitating that healing. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I do in the shop too, like what you said. Be like, hey, you know who you should talk to? Whether it's you or Zelda.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. Whoever it is, it's like.
Melissa said, thank you, Toni, for sharing your gifts with us.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I think with Reiki, the more people that do that, the world needs it right now. Always needs it. But you're sending out Reiki to people. It's just going on and on and on. And that's wonderful. It's what we needed. Sometimes my husband will say to me, so what are you doing today? And I'm going out to send peace and joy throughout the land.
Oh, I love that.
And I feel like that's my job. That's what I'm doing. I'm sending that out all the time.
I love that. Lindsay said, thank you, Toni. I love learning more about your background.
You're very welcome.
So
Lindsay's using her intuition already when she chooses the rock.
Absolutely.
So putting her energy, and that's what she puts her energy into her art. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So when all my crystals leave here, I've done Reiki on them. I sage the shop, I Reiki the shop. So
You have a heart beam in your shop as well.
Yeah. I have Rachel come in and ah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I want to say thank you, Toni, so much for doing our Fan Friday today. I appreciate everyone that logged on to the call today. I will post this in a little while. And Toni, thank you. I hope you have a great night. And everyone else, I hope you have a great night and great weekend, and make sure to stay warm. Bye, everyone. Bye,
Thank you.
Toni. Thank you. Bye.